Uh, well, thank you for the thank you for the question. William McKee, everybody. Did I bring the scotch? No, but I brought this. I brought this liquid death, which is water.
Yeah,
Which causes a lot of confusion because I've been drinking a lot of water now that I broke my foot, and but I tell you, the clients. I mean, it looks like a 16-ounce beer. Like, why would a water look like this? But
and
I
it's
can assure you,
expensive.
some flavorful H2O. Yeah,
That's good.
I was late. You were on mute, and we're just going to grip it and rip it. Here we go. William McKee, beers with
Let's
Max,
roll.
water with Max, whatever. That's what we
I am
got.
having Irish whiskey today.
Yeah,
So
what
this
do you
is
have?
this is a 12-year red breast that friends of ours from Dublin gave me as a parting present on our way back home.
That sounds delicious. I drank all mine.
Smells delicious.
My mother-in-law brought back a lot of different scotches from Scotland, as you do, and these little nips.
Yep,
And
that's what this is.
yeah, right. And they don't last very long, I've learned.
No, they're not made to
That's too
last.
bad. Well, thank you for being thank you for being on brand. Thank you for being here. William, for those of you who don't for those we'll start that again. For those of you who don't know William, what do you do?
Well, besides being a partner in a marketing agency, I live in Charlotte with my wife and a dog right now. We're down to one. We typically have two. But he's old and we don't want to bring a young one in and antagonize him with that mess. So it's just us. We like to travel, which, we're just traveling last month, which is how I ended up with Irish whiskey. We are into our garden and the yard, and I study and practice and teach yoga as a side hustle
I
in
need some
addition to the
yoga. I need
marketing
some
work.
yoga in my life.
Yeah,
I've
we could
been
all use a little bit of that in our life, a little
yeah,
balance.
I could use less broken feet in my life recently. Ping pong,
There's
that's
never
what
a
did
good
it.
time for that.
Ping pong, that's what did it. I feel like if I had done more yoga in my feet, if I had done more foot yoga, I would have been prepared for that forehand.
Yeah.
But alas, I was unprepared, and I've been sitting down for 6 weeks. What kind of agency? Agency means a lot of things nowadays.
Yeah.
What flavor
So
agency are
we,
you playing in?
so I'm old. And this is a long running agency. I founded the company in 2002 when I was been traveling. I'm in Charlotte now. I was born in Charlotte, but I've lived in Colorado, in Washington State, in Australia. The agency name Nomad, it comes after the fact that knowledge workers can live anywhere. So it's a mashup name of knowledge and nomadic. Um,
Yeah,
the
that's sort of past adolescent. That's like you'd be graduating college
yeah, yeah,
as an
we
agency.
exactly. Yeah,
You're now ready for real life.
and we might be ready for that now that we went to your cohort. That's not so secret anymore. Now that you're talking about it and Pete's talking about it. But
Still a secret, but sure, let's go for it.
yeah, yeah, definitely. It's always a secret. So the type of agency that we are running started as a very technical company. In fact, it started as just me as a single developer building websites for clients back before there was WordPress, back before there was HubSpot. So, like I said, I've been doing this a while. I come from the more technical side of things, but I have adapted the agency over the years to meet the needs of our clients. So back in the 2008, 2009 recession period, we went from building websites to helping our clients market those websites. Became a Google partner. It was in 2010, 2011 that we were introduced to HubSpot. Quickly became a partner agency with HubSpot, and have continued to grow our team to be more of a marketing focused team than a technical team. We used to have developers on staff, but no longer have a development staff at all. We outsource all the development work, focus primarily on marketing, and these days focus even more on the strategic element of marketing, especially as AI begins to take over and do more of that tactical type of work.
So as a recent college graduate in the age of your agents, I love
Yeah,
that thought,
yeah,
by the way, of just like,
yeah.
uh, li-
Lifespan of a company.
yeah, yeah, because you know, sometimes I talk to agencies that are 2 or 3 years old, and now it's kind of funny to imagine I'm talking to like my toddler, Sadie, who's 3. Anyway, that's just a
Yeah.
funny graphic that I have now. But you've been around for long enough where you've had to change your identity before, and that's it. I've
Hmm.
realized that that's been sort of my accidental profession in the last 10 years. A lot of it is an identity struggle where an agency will reach the plateau of their access, or a an impenetrable wall where
Yeah.
they know the conversations they want to have on the other side of that wall. They just can't get there because there's a bias to how the client sees you. So it sounds like you went through that once before, back when the technical, I guess, requirements, that the technical platform, the technical skills was really something that didn't exist wholesale until your HubSpots came along.
Hmm.
And so to have deeper conversations, to not be commoditized, marginalized, you became marketers, and you could
Yeah.
have those strategic conversations. Are you what sort of limitations or walls have you found in the marketing agency side, which you've been hanging out in for a decade?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's a wall as much as a pit right now with what's happening in the SEO world. And that's really where we leaned heavily into 10, 12 years
Yeah.
ago as we
It's
made
more
that
like pulling the
transition.
carpet out from under you, really.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like a
exactly.
hidden moat.
Hmm. Yeah, so
Drawbridge.
that's a big one that, you know, it was always listed when we do a SWOT analysis, that was always listed as a threat. And here we are, is that there's some more reality coming to the fact that been so reliant as a digital marketing agency on that power and influence of Google to help our clients reach their markets, and frankly, for us to reach our markets. Every time we've gone through one of these transitions or pivots or whatever you want to call it, you can see it in our balance sheet.
Yeah.
There's the climb, 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 dip, climb, climb, dip. We're continuing to climb, but there's when you go through a transition like that and reposition who you are, what your agency provides, it oftentimes you're changing who you're serving and how you're reaching that market. And years ago, a business coach told me you're not going to be able to get the clients you want to aspire to on the back of the current clients that you have. They're just hanging around in different pools. So we've got to take ourselves out of this comfortable space we're in and move into a place of discomfort and figure out, all right, how do we start getting comfortable? How do we learn the language of this different group? And that was a lot of the work that you put us through in that really tight schedule cohort that we went through in the fall, which was really
Yeah. Well,
transformational for us.
yeah, I mean, I do want to hear about your experience, and it's been what, 2 months since the end of the cohort. So
Yep.
I'd love to hear sort of the post mortem on that. But let's just back up a second. What is this new group, or what was the decision that what was clear that you had to change? And now that you're aspiring to, positioning wise, new
Mhm.
types of clients, what does new world look like for you?
Yeah, I'd actually want to go back a step and kind of build up this sequence. So, as a technical agency, we would oftentimes work with the more technical side of our clients' businesses, like the IT team, or sometimes the CIOs if clients were big enough to have a CIO in place. And
Yeah,
this is
I remember when websites were owned by IT because it was like
exactly.
the new technology thing.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, and this is you got to go back in time 10 years. Sometimes you don't have to go back in time. It's still the case in certain types of businesses, but it was more common then. And as we started to make that transition from being the website company to being a digital marketing company, we had to learn how to talk the language of marketing and how to get comfortable talking to marketers, which I am not a marketer. I become a marketer, but I was not born a marketer. I didn't go to school to become a marketer to learn marketing. What I know is
You're a born
through
again
others.
marketer. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I literally, I was the one blog I got published on HubSpot's blog was about I call it my conversion experience.
Yeah, we'll just dip you in a pool of Google search. There he is.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But it was, learning the power of inbound and literally experiencing it as a salesperson for my agency is what, helped me to make that switch and realize, okay, this has power. And so it has made it easier to talk to our clients and our prospects about the power that marketing has for them. But as we've been continuing to go and try to talk to marketers about the transforming what marketing can do for businesses, I'm realizing that we're talking to the wrong people within a business oftentimes. There are some businesses that have very, adept and skilled marketers, whatever their title may be, director of marketing, marketing manager, CMO. Um, they have a seat at the table and they are able to influence this business level decisions. Oftentimes that's not the case. And they're having to work through others in the business, and it's just hard to influence there. So we're,
Do you think that, because I've noticed the same thing, and now I can sort of see, I feel like marketers of 10 years ago, somebody senior, probably formally trained, and they're looking at the four P's, right? They got a seat at
yeah.
the table: product, price, promotion, placement, big deal.
Mhm.
Now that there are so many tactical marketing things, SEO, PPC, there's a million
Yeah,
tactics, million
social.
channels, right?
Yep.
Someone on the leadership team, gets an email from an investor. They make a decision to hire somebody junior, and so I think that
Yep.
the explosion of marketing tactics and marketing technology has sort of transformed the marketing department from something senior that has seats at the table to a
Somebody who knows how to work Twitter or
the kids
Instagram.
table, the kid, yeah, the
Hmm.
sandbox
Yep.
out on the porch.
Yep. Yep.
I
Exactly.
made a
And
post the other day. I called marketers crayon pushers. Maybe that was a little much, but I do write my content in the morning. So if I forget to have my coffee, all of a sudden, some weird stuff
sometimes,
comes
yeah.
out. So
I hadn't seen that one yet, Max.
yeah, you know what? I don't apologize. Anyway,
You know, I just wrote a post this morning about failure and just learning to embrace failure. And I can cite many examples of failures I've made along the way as I've learned this profession of marketing.
well,
Right now, what I'm,
I would say,
yeah,
yeah, for fear of me offending people, let's get
yep,
back to the so yeah, the change of marketing stature in corporate. So does this bring us up to what moment in time does this bring us up to? Is this a change that you've noticed in like the last 5 years, and in the last 2 years you've decided that you need to chase new roles in the leadership department? What's phase three?
yeah, I think that this has really been in the last 12 to 18 months, and it was driven home in Q4 as we started hanging around some of the folks in your circle and being influenced by people like Tamsin and Steve and others that are in those conversations at a transformational level. And that's really what I think is phase three for Nomad is helping put marketing programs in place at companies that have a more transformational impact on them and not just as a assistant to the sales team.
Yeah. How do you know? Like, what's the difference between a uh, a marketing a siloed marketing conversation and a conversation at the decision maker table that marketing is a part of? What's it sound like? What's the difference?
When you're talking about business outcomes that you're trying to influence with marketing, you are talking about what the sales goals are that have been established for the company and how the company sees they're going to be reaching those sales goals so that you can have some say and some feedback into the approach that they are taking in order to achieve better outcomes. Good example, we have a client that we found out in December that they missed their sales goal. And so we had plans of expanding our budget with the marketer there, great marketer, love the client, but he's not able to get budget to expand. Had we known that in June, we might have been able to make some better adjustments, make some suggestions to support getting sales back on track. So that's something that I want to look at with the program, the predictable performance program, in ways that we can get more early indicators that things are not going to land where you want them to land. Let's adjust.
Yeah. Well, Marnie Stockman was one of the guests that we brought into the DataBox cohort, and she said something to me when we first met, and I was like, "Yeah, that makes a lot of sense." So the goal isn't to eliminate churn. In fact, David Baker talks about the twilight, uh, not twilight, and the Goldilocks zone. There you go. I was like the Twilight Zone. No, that's something else. The Goldilocks zone of retention is between 18 months and 3 years. For a lot of reasons, mainly because the excitement dwindles, profitability dwindles, and you essentially just become a boring employee of the company, and you lose sight of why they hired you in the first place, which is to bring innovative ideas. But anyway, back to Marnie Stockman. The goal is not to eliminate churn. The goal is zero unreported churn. As a professional service business, you have to constantly balance sales and service
Mhm.
capacity. And so if you know you're going to lose an account 6 months before you lose that account because you see all the signals, it is much better
Yep,
than the surprise. We're going in a different direction.
absolutely much better.
Yeah.
Haven't gotten
So
there completely, but it's definitely you have a word for that of hidden churn, I think. Is that the
secret. I think that was just something I blurted out the other day. Was it sleeper churn?
sleeper churn? Yeah, yeah.
So you're the
It's a good
second
one.
person that has said that again to me. Sleeper churn. Sometimes I say things and I forget I say them, but I'll write
Oh
that one
man,
down. It's like
wait until you're 50.
it's like giving an assist to yourself. It's like passing yourself off the boards. I'll give you an assist for it. Sleeper churn. Um, okay, so we want to get into more business conversations.
Yep.
Pete Caputo was nice enough to invite me to co-host their what we were calling the super secret consulting cohort because he's seen what's happened to agencies the last 10 years as well. And so we sort of have both been trying to help these agencies elevate their conversation in the name of retention and expansion. You can't expand accounts, let alone retain them, if you don't have access and alignment to leadership teams.
Yep.
And the free ticket to have adult conversations is data and insights. I believe the last frontier is I know something you don't know. And that comes from having access to marketing data, to sales data, and
Hmm.
product data. I think product, like if I had to have three legs to the stool, um, I think agencies first expand their conversation into sales. There's a
Hmm.
natural fight there and battle over who's right and whose numbers are correct, but you have to get the sales data But the other thing I think is product, because I've seen time and time again, and I've interviewed a lot of people that say, yeah, the first problem with marketing is they assume the market wants to buy the product that they're trying to market, and it's the same problem sales has. You know,
If we
if
could
we've
turn the
created
table,
yeah, if we've
yeah.
created a product that nobody wants, sales and marketing are going to struggle.
Now it's your turn to go and figure out how you're going to sell that.
Yeah, so if you're fight, if you're having a fist fight with sales at the at the kids at recess, the best thing to do to rekindle your relationship is to gang up on product. uh, anyway, so we did like 2 months together. I mean, why did you spend 2 months with me trying to do this stuff? And what happened? Where you been?
I had to leave for a month to recover from that. It was traumatic.
Yeah, we only
Um,
got one speed. We go.
it you were go, man. It was
But
like,
my philosophy is if you push somebody into a tree, they're going to hit at least one branch.
well, that's an interesting philosophy.
Yeah, they're not going to knock the tree down. That's not the point. We just need to hit like one branch.
That's okay. Okay, I got your analogy now. At first, it just sounded devious. But yeah, yeah, being pushed into the deep end, I get that analogy for sure. You'll figure out how to swim, or hey, we can at least throw a life ring to you.
Yeah, we got analogies. Yeah.
So the I wanted to join the cohort because I knew that we needed to adjust how we are serving our clients and how we're going to the market because change is afoot. And I wasn't quite sure how to go about it, but I've been hanging out with Pete, I've been hanging out with you, and I figured, hey, if we get a group of smart people together, I'm gonna, at least hit a branch. And the takeaway that I got from the work that you put us through and the exercises that we went through was really getting comfortable having uncomfortable conversations where you don't know where the outcome is necessarily going to land you. You've got to be able to, just be in on the court, as my business coach likes to say, and be in that conversation. And you gave us a lot of frameworks, more than I think I'm going to ever be able to fully process and use, but you gave us a number of different tools in there to start having these conversations. And then it was backed up by the predictable performance model that DataBox has put together so that we could start having, as you were saying, these data conversations. And what I've found in having and beginning to talk to our clients about these is they're resonating. There's a common challenge. It's not just that it's fun to poke fun at the marketing sales issue. It's a real issue. And there's ways to have conversations about those issues that can be healthy and healthful for companies. And
Well,
I think if I can finish I think, Max, that what I've realized in the 2 months since going through that work together is that there's so much hidden data and hidden information inside of businesses that is preventing them from really excelling. That if we can begin to put light on it and put attention in those places, it'll change the trajectory of those companies. That's the transformation piece.
yeah, it was sort of serendipitous timing because it's one thing to go in a company and say, "Hey, you have a measurement problem," but right around the time we started that cohort, it was like the 2024. You had Gartner report, you had CEB, you had all these. I don't know why I consider them prime time consultancy reports, and they're asking CMOs like, "Hey, what do you think's going on?" And they're all saying we've overinvested in technology and we still can't measure results.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's related to this hiring junior people. I think it's related to the decline of seniority, the decline of marketing seniority in organizations. So they're increasingly siloed and they play with all the little toys because they've got so many marketing toys. But what they're
Yep.
missing is that sales data and that product data. And without bringing those together, you still have a measurement problem and you cannot tie these marketing metrics to business outcomes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you about this siloed data. And we worked there for years and it worked because I guess we just had enough uh, moving through an inefficient system that at the end of the day, you could spend 50 cents of every dollar and not know where it goes because you're making enough. But now that, budgets have squeezed and companies are getting more lean, there's just not that room for slosh. And I was watching your conversation with Chris, that was part of our cohort, and he was talking about the what did he call that? It's lost revenue. He's looking
Uh,
at
ir- iris. I keep thinking, leaky bucket
leaky
problem.
bucket. Yes, exactly,
Yeah,
leaky
yeah.
bucket. And so that happens in the sales process as well, because if you have a 6 month, 18 month, as some of our B2B clients have sales process, you can't put your sales team on that all the time. They can't keep their focus. There are systems you can put in place that keep the focus. I met a guy probably a decade ago who's written a book called Prediction Machines. He wrote a few more before that, but he was all about how do you create a true marketing ROI that is predictable. So you can say, if I put $1 in this machine, I'll get $5 out on the other end. And he told me at that time that it takes a lot of money to build a prediction machine. And I believed him. And you can totally underspend on marketing, but I think you don't have to spend $1 million or 10 or $100 million on marketing to create a machine like that or a process like that. These tools we have today with HubSpot and all the integrations to CRMs, it doesn't take an engineer anymore to create a full 360 feedback loop so you can actually see the impact of sales. The language that we use internally now is tracking lead to revenue. And that's if you can track lead to revenue, then you can begin to influence your close rate, you can influence profitability, you can influence a number of things that you are otherwise guessing at when you don't have that full traceability.
Yeah. So now that you've gone through it twice, what is the most difficult part of changing a service? And, I'm sort of talking about, you're talking about repositioning, you're talking about changing
Yeah.
the way you speak, self-identity, let alone the service itself,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of easy. Oh, we're doing this today, we want to do that tomorrow. But what's the bump in the road?
Time is the bump in the road right now. We're exactly what you're saying. We're repositioning, so we're creating new thought leadership. We're creating new assessment tools to bring to the market. We are working on our internal documentation for how we deliver a service, while we're also updating sales proposals and contract language with clients.
Whoa. So you're going all out.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel, it's not like we're going from, you know, selling a, I don't know, a product selling services. We're kind of just adapting what we're doing now. We, we are going into a more strategic positioning with our services, but that's
Yeah.
just the general
So
nature
what
of
what
business
were what were some
evolution.
of the major milestones? So you described some of these uncomfortable conversations. Was there like some wins that you had to get before everyone was like, okay, now we're willing to go on this 6-month journey of updating our positioning, our procedures? Yeah, were there some wins that I don't know about in the last 2 months or in that first 2 months during the cohort?
During the cohort, we had relaunched our website about 6 months before I started the cohort and finally took Pete's advice to niche. We had been resisting that for many years. But
Well,
we
that goes a
did,
long way.
yeah, yep, it does. So we were working through that progression of niching our solutions, the services we provide into a industrial manufacturing market. And we had turned those services into a sequence of services that we call our program right now because we're not we're not that creative yet with naming. You know, just let's get
Well,
this
you
out
want to know
there.
a secret? People are
What's
sick
that?
of silly names.
Okay, good.
So
We don't have a silly
it's
name.
almost like, well, it's almost like passive aggressive or comic in like, yeah, it's called our program.
It's literally on
Right,
our
they're like, oh,
website.
thank God. Please, thank you for not giving me the McKee's secret sauce, the McKee number 5.
No, you're not going to get that from me. I'm far
Uh,
too literal. So our program just started to package up those services that we offer, starting with some brand work and marketing strategy work, messaging, foundational work, and then ongoing campaigns. What we've done as a result of the cohort, though, is to talk about how does a business start using that? Now, that's great. We've got a program, but how does that fit into a business? And then how do we tell that that program is actually working and producing results for them? And that's where the predictable performance is starting to come into play. So
yeah.
I've gotten more traction. You know, Deanna started to join me in these some of the calls there towards the end of the cohort. That's always a win for me when I get her bought into a new idea. Not that she's opposed, she is usually the one bringing new ideas to us, and I'm the one saying no, no, no. But we're on the same page here with the direction and the future of where we need to go. And yeah, back when it felt like we were at the cusp with inbound marketing and HubSpot was
Yeah.
the place to hang out, and that's where you're meeting a lot of agencies. It's got this similar feel to it right now with this. I don't know if I'd like the name data-driven marketing. It feels a little overplayed, overused. But this look at performance and how you are tracking and measuring performance and then driving that deeper into the company as well.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see where there's opportunities to take this beyond just the marketing and get it
Yeah.
into product, get it into logistics, because we work with a lot of product companies.
Yeah. Use numbers to make decisions.
Not, yeah,
No numbers for choices. I always try to play with like something that a child could understand. We look at numbers and then we make choices. Bad choices are bad for the business.
we like to
Yeah.
make better choices. And so if you
There you go. There
inform,
is the Better Choices program. Well, William, it's great to see you. I appreciate you sharing some stories.
always fun to hang
We'll
out.
check back in with you in a few months and follow your progress. And we'll have another cohort coming up. If you need to come back for more punishment, there's always another branch on the
I might
tree
send somebody else there.
to hit on. Yeah, just send someone else into the fire.
Yeah.
For those of you binging on Beers with Max, don't operate any heavy machinery. Tip your waitress. See you next time.
Do your yoga.
Do your yoga. There you go.